Hello people of the internet, this is Lee, and today I will be reviewing part 1 in a new mini-series called Jim Henson's The Storyteller, Witches. This is going to have a new creative staff each month, and in this case, for this particular standalone story, which is called The Magic Swan Goose and the Lord of the Forest, it's actually written and illustrated by S.M. Vidari. And I think that this particular creator, I'm not going to bother saying his name again, I'm just going to refer to him as the author or creator from here on out, because I'll just trip over the name. It'll be bad, it'll be ugly, it'll be horrible. So, moving along. I think that this person, him or her, the creator, did a really good job of telling the story. It, to me, feels a lot more like a fairy tale than it does a comic book, rather than feeling necessarily like sequential art. The thing that it really reckoned back to for me was at the beginning of Sleeping Beauty. They tell the story storybook style. They open it up and it's these beautiful stained glass panels that you see on the screen as it's being narrated to you. And I feel like this is reminiscent of that. Not in the style of the art. The art is actually very pretty but watercolored and not at all like stained glass, but just in that type of storytelling. That's what it was reminiscent of for me. One of the things that I really liked about the storytelling is that even though it, to me, did not feel like standard sequential art that you see in a comic book, the author did some things to really just pull you into the story, and he did it with the text. You get the story through the text, but it's not just that you're reading the words. The way that the author would play with the writing, the text, by italicizing it, or by boldening it, or by making it larger or also smaller. It forces you to modulate, and it's really very subconscious. You don't notice you're doing it, but you, in your head, when you're reading it, at least if you're me, it puts you in storyteller mode, and when the writing gets small, it pulls you into a lower tone, and then when it goes big, it's intended that way. So the author is forcing you to modulate it to how he or she, because I don't know who this person is, really feels the story needs to be told, and I found that to be very clever, and I liked it quite a bit. There's times where the writing will actually move along the page in a way that makes you move your head as well. It makes sure that you're fully engaged in that way, and it also slows down the way you're reading. So it really just goes back to modulating how you are reading, and it's just a very smart thing to do with the text, and not something I've encountered before. And that's regardless of format. I just think that a really superb job was done with that, and I like the way the story was told. As far as the story itself goes, it is a pretty standard fairy tale. There's definitely some ideas that aren't retreads of previous fairy tales that we've read as children, but you know, if you like fairy tales, you're used to having some overlapping plot, some less than original story, and it's okay, because that's just the format that they're written in. You know, there's the use of a forest, there's the use of a castle, and a princess and a prince, and it's not a love story, actually. The prince is the little brother of the princess, but yeah, there's just a lot of things that don't feel completely original in that, but the way the story is told, especially with the use of that text, I think that this story would not be nearly as moving and interesting had the author not used that skill there. Because, yeah, essentially the story is perfectly fine, but the storytelling is what wins me over on it. The main characters don't have a lot of development or interest, but it's really just about the story. It's not about the characters in this. It's about the witch, but it's not really. It's about the princess. There's a little bit of a lost focus there, but even with that, I think it was a really well-told story, and I think that, again, if you're a fan of Jim Henson's Storytellers, the TV series, or if you're a fan of fairy tales, this is definitely something worth picking up. I also think it's a perfectly fine story to read even if you don't necessarily read comic books, but you enjoyed storybooks as a child, because it does feel that way. And it manages to feel that way without feeling condescending, without using small words necessarily. It feels like an adult storybook, but without adult parts. Never mind. I need more caffeine in my life, so just disregard half of what I say. Regardless, this is a really good book, and I would definitely recommend it. It is published by Archaia and just came out today, September 17th, if I've got my date right, and I think I do this time. And yeah, so I would definitely recommend picking this up from your local comic shop. And if you happen to be in the Rock Island or Quad City area, that of course would be the Comic Rec, so you can come visit us, we'll chat, and you'll buy this, and it'll be great. You'll really like it. Also, if there's anything else you would like me to review, please let me know in the comments. You can also like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that very much. But in the meantime, you guys have a great day. Bye.